What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is the United States a country?
Yeah.
It's such a random question, isn't it?
It is a country.
Well, yeah, obviously. Well, it must be.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's going to be exposed. Because this is by Real Life Law, and it's got a lot of views. It's a great channel as well. We've reacted to a couple of their videos before. So it's like, what do you mean is the United States a country?
Of course it is.
Like, there's got to be some reasoning behind the question, hasn't there? You know what I mean? Like, let's get straight into it because I'm super confused. Do you? Smash the like button if you enjoy this kind of content. Smash the subscribe button as well, you absolute legends. And yeah, this question confuses me because it is a country, and I'm intrigued. Intrigue is a word, I guess, to find out what difference it's going to say. Do you have any ideas?
I don't know, because I just always thought it was a country.
Yeah, say. Well, it is. There's no thought about it. It is a country.
I don't know why it's got a question mark.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Let's get straight into it. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and let's find out why the United States potentially may not be a country.
This is a video by Real Life Lore, done in a collaboration with Wendover Productions.
Oh, we've done Wendover before as well.
What is a country?
Great
The traditional
channel.
definition is a state with sovereignty over a geographic area, with a permanent population, defined territory, one government, and the capacity to enter into relations with other sovereign states. So, does the United States perfectly match this description? And perhaps even more importantly, what exactly is the United States? When you say the words United States of America, you sort of assume that the country is in America, but that's not really the case. America means the continents of North and South America, but only 99.5% of the United States of America is actually located here, and 1.6% of all Americans live outside of America. Most of this non-American yet still American land is located on islands in both the Caribbean and Pacific. In the Pacific, we have Hawaii, which is the only state out of 50 to be located outside of America, and a bunch of other islands that together make up something called U.S. territory. Territories are part of the U.S. and are divided between incorporated and unincorporated territory. But they are all directly governed by Congress, which means that they are essentially ruled by what the 50 states decide, all without any representation for themselves and without the ability to even vote for president. The furthest away of these territories is Guam, which is a little chunk of America 3,633 miles away from the nearest state, Hawaii, and 7,912 miles away from the U.S. Capitol building, where the laws governing the island are decided. There are
put that into perspective. Like, just so we understand, I may be wrong on this, but I've got a feeling that's kind of similar to us to Egypt.
Okay.
So you think how far Egypt is away?
Very far.
I might be wrong on that. I just kind of, for some reason, I have 7,000 miles in my head for us to eat. I don't know why. I really don't. And then, I think how far away we are from Egypt, and then that's technically controlled by the United States. Okay. Miles and miles away. So I kind of get the question a little bit.
60,000 people who live on Guam, and there are 4 other island territories with people on them. The Northern Mariana Islands, American Samoa, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. There are 8 other islands scattered around there too, but nobody lives on those, so they're not really that important. The U.S. Constitution only partially applies in all of these territories, which is getting more and more awkward all the time in a place like Puerto Rico, which has a higher population than these 21 actual states. Puerto Rico may very well someday in the future actually become the 51st state, but a place that likely won't anytime soon is this tiny island in the middle of nowhere in the Pacific. This is Palmyra Atoll, home of nobody but the only incorporated territory of the United States, meaning that the U.S. Constitution fully applies here, and anybody...
I don't know what just happened to the screen there. Oh, it's so weird. I was messing about with the sound. I don't even know what's happened still.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys. That was so weird. So we'll go back, because that did look absolutely stunning, didn't it?
Yeah.
This is Palmyra Atoll.
That is beautiful, isn't it? That is beautiful.
I like the colour of the sea.
Home of nobody, but the only incorporated territory of the United States, meaning that the U.S. Constitution fully applies here, and anybody born here for whatever reason automatically becomes a U.S. citizen. Weirdly, the person who is given the right to administer this island is the U.S. president, which I'm sure is probably very high on the list of presidential things to be doing. The president also has to worry about some U.S. land that is contested with other countries, like these 2 uninhabited islands covered in bird poop that are claimed by Colombia, or these islands off the coast of Maine that are claimed by both the US and Canada, which strangely means that if you were to give birth on either of them, your child would automatically gain both American and Canadian citizenship.
That's pretty cool.
And perhaps most controversially of all, this piece of land in Cuba called Guantanamo Bay.
So I get a British one too.
A British.
3 passports for one child.
You're sorted for life, aren't you?
You can go anywhere pretty much.
Yeah.
It's actually not a small space. Guantanamo Bay is larger than 5 UN-recognized sovereign states, and is about the same size as the island of Jersey between England and France.
That's like our first ever shout out. What? Sorry, I was just mental.
What? What?
That
I was
weird.
not expecting that.
That was
I
just
just
weird,
shouted
isn't
into
it?
the mic as
Yeah.
well. Oh my-
That was honestly just weird.
Wait,
That's like the first ever shout out Jersey's got in one of his videos.
What?
Oh, so it's a massive piece of land.
Look, look
What's
at
even
us.
not? Oh,
Stephen got.
Why is Buddy Bay on there? That's a bit weird.
Yeah, why is Billy Bay on
That's
there?
so weird. And why is Clem on?
That's so unimportant. And Lahore.
Lahore, like these two actually. Well, St. Oban. Why is that on
We
there
live
as
at the
well?
very top.
Yeah, well, we're not
down
going to
there.
give our address
I mean,
anyway, but
We live right at the top.
the top half.
Yeah.
We're the top half, aren't we? That's where we currently are. That's just mental.
That's what Jersey looks like, everyone.
Yeah, for people asking where is Jersey, that's France and England.
And that's Guernsey
England's
over there.
somewhere up there.
And that little tiny one's Sark in
Yes.
the middle, and then that one is Alderney.
Yeah, but we've been Sark's a nice little
Yeah.
island, isn't
I've
it?
been
We
to Guernsey
Get a
too.
boat over to there. Well, there you go.
I was not. I was.
Guantanamo Bay.
Is the same size as Jersey. It's
There you go.
Almost smaller, maybe.
Well, I think it might be a little bit bigger because it hasn't got like the curves in it.
Yeah, true.
But there you go. It's massive, absolutely massive.
Jersey's huge.
Cuba has laid claim to the territory ever since 1959, but the United States has so far decided to keep it instead. Now that's all of America that isn't actually located in America, but what about the other 99.5% of the country that we've been neglecting so far? Well, that would be the 49 states that make up the rest of the United States along with Hawaii. The states have the power to elect representatives that are sent to Congress, which creates laws for the entire Union. The individual states are granted a considerable amount of power on their own by Congress, and they share this power with the federal or the national government. The states and federal government are both allowed to pass their own separate laws, which has caused a huge amount of trouble in the nation's past over which laws are more valid. The Civil War answered the question once and for all, though, however. Federal law always wins over state law.
That makes sense.
The Civil War also...
That does make sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, the federal one is the main governing one. Disastrous stuff, they sort it, theirs goes. And then the state, there's probably quite a few subjects with, like, marijuana and stuff like that, which we see. That state gets a choice. You can legalise it, you can not. You know what I mean? That does make sense.
also decided that states never have the right to leave the Union once they have joined, even today, so a state could actually vote to leave the Union, but it would not ever be recognized by the federal government. States also cannot ever declare a federal law to be invalid, but they can kind of get around that by legalizing things that the federal government has declared illegal. The most famous instance of this is marijuana, which continues to be illegal everywhere in the United States on the federal level, but has been fully legalized for all uses in the states of Nevada, Maine, Colorado, Washington, California,
It's legalized here, isn't
Massachusetts,
it?
Alaska.
For medical purposes.
For medical, but I didn't realise it was federal no, but the states have said yes. So that's is it not classed as that? Do the federal not like that? Let us know your opinion on that, because I knew quite a lot had gone legal marijuana and stuff like that. But
and Oregon. Since federal law always wins over state law, the federal government could, in theory, at any time enter any of these states with federal law enforcement and arrest the hundreds of thousands of people participating in legal state laws but illegal federal laws. The only reason why they haven't yet is just because they've decided that it isn't worth their time. But if states can ignore federal law or even legalize things that are technically illegal, then what does that say about our definition of a country, particularly the sovereignty part?
yeah,
Further,
I get the
how
argument.
many people in states identify more with their own individual state over the actual country of the United States? Despite how we just discussed earlier the illegality of secession, the states that continue to have active separatist movements regardless of that are Alaska, Hawaii, California, Oregon, Washington, Vermont, New Hampshire, the former Confederate States of America, and most famously, Texas. The only remotely significant ones, however, are Texas, Hawaii, and probably biggest of all, Alaska, where the Alaska Independence Party is currently polling at around 6% of the population, and even got their candidate elected governor of the state back in 1990. And finally, there is one more significant way that you can challenge the definition of a country in regards to the United States, the defined territory part that we went over in the beginning. This map leaves out the numerous American Indian reservations located within the US, of which there are 326. Many of them are very small, but 12 reservations are actually larger than the state of Rhode Island, and the biggest one, the Navajo Nation Reservation, is about the same size as West Virginia, or Latvia for the Europeans watching this video,
Wow.
and has a population of nearly 200,000 people. Together,
I just love how that's relatively small in US terms.
I know.
It's relatively small, but if you compare it to Europe, it's huge. You know what I mean? It's a whole
these
country.
reservations have a population of over 1 million people and take up a space the size of Idaho, or a little larger than Belarus. These reservations are granted something called tribal sovereignty, which gives them the rights to govern themselves within the territory of the United
Wow.
States. The federal
Didn't know
government
that.
recognizes these reservations sort of like independent countries, calling them officially domestic dependent nations. They have jurisdiction over their own land and can pass laws separate or even in violation of both state and federal laws, which is why the largest casino in the world is located on one of these reservations in Oklahoma, despite the fact that gambling is illegal in Oklahoma.
Wow.
You can gamble anywhere on the territory of the reservation, but as soon as you step off back into state territory, it suddenly becomes instantly illegal again. Reservations sometimes even have their own courts, their own police forces, elect their own president, and even lead foreign delegations abroad as representatives not of the United States, but of the reservation.
Did you know about these reservations?
I do not know about this.
This is honestly the first I've ever heard about.
Yeah.
We've done so many videos. Why is-
Now I understand the title.
Yeah, like what? Since when has this been a
I know.
thing? You know what I mean? But at least it's like mini countries inside. That is like
It's
its own
almost
little
like
country.
Africa. Yeah, let me explain.
Yeah, I am letting you
Africa's
explain.
a continent.
Yeah.
America is a continent. America, like just
Yeah,
America.
yeah,
With Africa has countries in,
yeah.
whereas the US has states in, but they're kind of like mini countries.
I can kind of.
I'm not
that's
saying.
like saying.
Can I just say I know that California's not a country, and I also know that it's not the same, but it's like a similarity. Like that's the way I can see it in my brain right now.
I can kind of see where you're going with.
I just want to clarify, I'm not stupid, and
I
I do
definitely
know,
not. It's
and
a
I
reasonable
do
thing.
know that that's not correct, but
I
that's
get
in my
you,
brain.
but-
That's what I'm kind of like comparing it to.
Yeah, but America is the continent, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and
then
Africa is the continent.
you're about to say Europe is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Europe's mad. Let's
Well-
not, let's leave Europe out of this.
Yeah, I kind of see what you're saying.
But
'cause
Africa's all one.
You're saying
All one kind of.
it'd
I
be
used to
interesting to see
think.
if United States was a separate continent.
Because
And
I
then,
used to think Africa was a whole country when I was stupid and small. I used to think it was
No,
a whole
there's
country.
nothing wrong with that,
Because it's
but-
like all together, you know, like on one.
Yeah, no, I know what you
bit.
mean, but it's actually saying Europe again, isn't it?
No,
you know what I
Europe,
mean?
I
It's
don't
like
get
saying
involved with Europe.
again. So I get what you're trying
my-
to say.
okay, in
It's
my
a
head-
massive piece of land with all these separate territories inside, which you could technically class as countries. Is what you're trying to say, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I have similarity. Like,
Yeah,
similar
I get what you're
to-
saying.
I know it's not.
Let us know
Okay,
your
don't
opinions in
come
the
for
comments
me.
on that.
Please don't come for me.
Therefore, you could actually really draw the United States to look like this if you take out all of the American Indian reservations, which
Wow,
are
that's quite a
extremely
lot.
independent anyway. But all of the remaining states can have their own unique laws and even disregard some federal laws that are passed by Congress. So the only territory that is 100% governed by the federal government is the city of Washington, D.C., which isn't a part of any state, and the islands that make up the U.S. territories. So that really begs the question again, what exactly is the United States, and is the United States actually
Maybe
I
it's a
don't know
continent.
So the
It is a
European Union
continent.
is actually a lot like the United States.
No,
It is a continent. I actually can't.
They are both composed of a bunch of different states. They both have open borders. They each have a common currency.
I can
a
see
central
Jersey at the
government
bottom.
with representatives from the different states. The only big difference is that the United States is a country, and the European Union is made up of countries. So I made a video over at my channel, Wendover
Wait.
Productions, answering the question, is the European
Nah, I'm
Union
not
a
gonna say
country?
it. Stupid.
Okay, so go ahead and check out Wendover Productions' video next. If you enjoyed this video
I
about
can't.
the
maybe-
It's too much information in one day.
it's we won't do it next. We may do it in the future. Let us know if you want us to check that out because it's great to learn, isn't it?
Yeah, but now I'm just even more confused than I was when I started.
We are more confused. Let us know in the comments your opinion on that. Smash that like button. We've got somewhere to be, haven't we? So
I'd say America is a country.
oh well, yeah,
The United
it definitely
States
is.
of America is a
It's just
country.
posing questions of is it actually
But I do.
under? It is.
But then
a
I do
country.
feel like because the states are so big, they technically could be countries.
Oh yeah, definitely. But be massive,
Yeah.
like Texas and California, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Let us know your opinions and Alaska. Let us know your opinions in the comments below. Smash that like button, guys. Smash the subscribe button, and have a fantastic day. Peace.